Man, y'all know what time it is. T-Law got the eyes of Lee Van Cleef when he go in that field.
Checks it down underneath. That's a crossing route to Christian Kirk. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Christian Kirk to the goal line. Touchdown, Jacksonville.
They made a major mistake when they made T-Law go to the spirit of the sky to the oracle of the saber-toothed tiger, and the saber-toothed tiger now has the scepter in his hand, and he been to put every critic to rest. Man, last night I done marinated 2 turkeys. I got my cherry wood getting ready for my smoker. Just got off from work, off Pritchard Road. I'm going to bake me 2 Cornish hen. My special recipe, I call it a Mediterranean Cornish hen. I'm going to top it off with my homemade Long Island iced tea. And I'm only going to top it off with 1 red top of Coca-Cola. The Maxwell House coffee will live on forever. Duval!
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Jeff Logman, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It is not quite a Check the Tape Tuesday, but it's a Jeff Logman Tuesday on Jaguars Today. So we invite you to send your Jaguar-related questions for Jeff this morning. First, Tony, good morning. How are you?
Doing well.
Pockets, everything good?
All good in the hood.
All right, I was wondering if anybody would wear their new 1010XL apparel today.
No.
We got the early Christmas present. And before Logs pipes in and goes, where's mine? We got the early, we work here all week long Christmas present from management. It's a very nice
new merch.
It's like a short sleeve hoodie.
Yeah.
Which makes me think we're preparing for Bill Belichick to arrive in Jacksonville at some point.
It's got that feel to it.
It does have like the tailored sleeves. They're not cut off, so it's not quite the same. But very nice piece of merch. I'm sure you'll be seeing all of us wear it because we're nothing if not free clothes whores.
No doubt.
That's
I'm
what we
wearing
are.
one right now.
You know, no question. Me too.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact. Let's say hello to Jeff Logman. Good morning, Logs. How are you, buddy?
Oh, good. Good morning, boys.
Good to talk with you. How was your bye week? What'd you get up to?
Oh, well, you guys know me. I'm one to hit the woods this time of year.
Yeah.
So I've
Any
been living in
success?
the woods.
Yeah.
I had an opportunity. Got a nice deer and a couple does, and then I've had a problem with some wild pigs, and so I've been able to make a little progress in that department. So that's a good thing.
How do you deal with wild pigs?
Shoot them.
All right,
Trap
I didn't
them,
know.
do whatever you can.
Yeah, well, I assume you shoot them, but when you said you had some progress in that department, I thought you had like some elaborate scheme cooked up. Other than, I could figure I'd go out with a gun and handle your business.
And in a perfect world, they make these trapping systems that you kind of condition these pigs to go in. And once they get conditioned, they get used to the free and really good food, then they keep going in there. Then you kind of set the trap, so to speak. And then, because your whole goal is to catch the entire, what they call a sounder group, so that you don't end up educating the ones that don't get in, and you end up having a few stragglers, and trapping hasn't been as successful with this last group. So they had to ingest a little bit of lead this week.
No, that's the way it goes.
Does that mean venison's on the menu on Thursday, Logs? Is that what I heard?
I think venison will be on the menu at some point in the future because, when the Hurricane Helena came through up here in Georgia, we lost all of our freezers. And so we lost all the deer meat that we had. And I mean, heck, man, there's nothing better on the planet to me than venison chili. And so like when I shoot does, one of them's name is chili, the other one's name is spaghetti, and the other one's name is hamburgers. We love to eat venison, and it's a really good, high quality, obviously as organic as it comes, and low fat. It's really good for you. So I love to eat venison. So this is the time of year we've got to replenish a little bit of the stock that we lost from the hurricane damage.
All right, well, Logs, you got away from the week in, week out grind of Jaguar football. The players were able to get away as well. What do you think a bye week can do? Obviously they're not exactly steaming toward a playoff berth here, but what can a bye week do to reset a 2-9 football team?
Well, I think no matter whether you're losing or whether you're winning, you're just trying to have the emotional break. And I know a lot of people would kind of scoff at that and say, "Oh, well, they're losing. They should get back to work." And I get it. I mean, I understand that emotion, but it's a grind. It's a mental grind. It's a very stressful job. And look, you're getting paid to win, and when you're not winning, then it just makes it even harder because I mean, it's hard enough physically on the players to handle that, and it's hard on families too. Because the families, you got kids in school and all the kids are making fun of the kid whose dad is a coach or dad is a player and your team sucks and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, it's not just hard on the players and the coaches, it's hard on their families too. And I'm not trying to give them a sympathy story because they get paid very well, but I mean that's just the reality of it in their world. So sometimes it's nice to get away and take an emotional break and then come back a little bit refreshed like Doug Peterson talked about and get back to work. Now it's now you got to get refreshed and refocused and get back to work and start winning some football games if you can, because look, you still got 6 games to go. And if all of a sudden you kind of pick up where you left off, it's going to make it real tough.
All right, Dylan, if you're ready to roll in there, let's throw a little of Doug Peterson's presser out there, Logs. Get your reaction to this from yesterday. Obviously, guys are getting back into the routine, and I think the big question mark this week is going to be the potential availability of number 16, Trevor Lawrence, who did practice yesterday. So here was Doug Peterson giving an update on Trevor and when he'll ultimately decide on his game status.
Trevor's going to practice today, and then we'll see where it's at from there.
How much is it just based on how much he's able to go throughout the week?
Yeah, it'll just be a toleration thing with him, yeah.
All right, so Logs, what is your guess? And that's all we're doing is guessing here with Trevor Lawrence. Do you think we're going to see him suit up this week and kind of how careful are you going to be as a coaching staff, as an organization, even if he's willing to be out there with that shoulder injury that he's dealing with?
Well, look, if the player gets medically cleared by the doctor, okay, and medically cleared by the doctor is basically assuming that, okay, can't hurt it any worse. I mean, does it need fixing at the end of the season? Maybe. But as long as he can't do any more damage and he can play, then I think he's got to play. And I think he's going to play this week. I don't know anything more than what you guys do, but I just know from knowing and seeing what Trevor has done in the past, and he's played through some things, I expect him to play this week.
All right, so other than, just trying to win football games, which is what they're paid to do, how much more benefit is there? What can you glean from an additional 6 games? A lot of people are saying this is a lost season. They want to see Trevor shut it down. They don't want to see him having a long rehab in the offseason if he gets hurt any further than he is. But even if you don't make the postseason, if you're eliminated this upcoming week, what are some of the benefits that they can gain? Is there a carryover effect to like some of the chemistry you might develop or continue to develop with a guy like Brian Thomas?
Well, I think first and foremost, you're proving to your teammates that you're going to be there. Whether times are good or times are bad, and times are tough or times are celebratory. I mean and I think that's important for a quarterback to be there for his teammates. And then you can also build chemistry. I mean, regardless of whether you're building it with the same coaching staff going into the next year, whether there's going to be change. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? But the reality is that there's going to be a lot of players on this football team that are going to be on this football team next year. And so with Trevor playing with those guys, I think that shows something. And that's what you want to do. You want to be there for your teammates, man. Every time you have a huddle breakdown and practice, and a lot of times in games, you hear the players say fam. Well, fam stands for family. And if a guy is out there and he's battling, then as a family member, you need to be out there too, if you can be. And I think that shows a lot.
What is your expectation for this team in the final 6 games, Jeff? I mean, it does get a little bit easier from a schedule perspective, but they've been bad enough that it's hard to say they'll definitely beat whoever, right? Even in the final 6 games with Vegas being on the schedule. But we'll see if Trevor Lawrence is going to be available. But what are just your general expectations for the team here in the final 6?
If Trevor's playing, I expect them to be competitive and to maybe win 3 out of the remaining 6 games or, something of that nature, just because of what the schedule is. I would be surprised if they're not competitive in all of these games. The one thing that kind of has got me a little bit concerned is that, look, watch the film yesterday and today of Tennessee versus Houston. And Tennessee is tough. Their defense is for real. And so a lot of people were kind of looking at that as like, that's probably going to be a good win or could be a win for the Jaguars in the remaining 6 games. But wait a minute. They got 2 defensive tackles right now, and the defense is just, to have lack of a better term, they're kicking ass right now. So the Jaguars are going to have their hands full with 2 games left with Tennessee Titans. Indianapolis, you've got to deal with them, and they're a good football team when they've got some good quarterback play, and maybe they're going to get that. The Raiders are a complete mess, but look, I think you should be competitive in these 6 games, and I would be surprised if you're not. The one thing, though, that you better find a way to get fixed, you better find a way to fix your defense, because your defense has been terrible.
Well, let's get into that and everything else Jaguar-related today with Jeff Logman on a sort of Check the Tape Tuesday here, kind of the season-long tape and where we're going down the stretch with the final half dozen football games for the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you'd like to be a part of it, if you want to pose a question or make a comment about the Jags, you're certainly welcome to do that on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines at 641-1010. Same number for the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can hop in the YouTube virtual studio chat, as well as hit us up on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, at Logs56, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
All right, so we're off and rolling. Jeff Logman at a semi-undisclosed location. I mean, you don't have his GPS coordinates, but you know he's north of the Florida-Georgia line right now. Context clues are abundant, but he is certainly willing to weigh in on all aspects of Jaguar football, so let's get into it for the next couple hours. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Get inside the mind of Jags coach Doug Peterson.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't have butterflies.
Coach Speaks. Fridays at 4:05 on The Franchi Show.
I want to win.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle. It's the time of year all our customers love. At Garber Auto Mall, every 2024 must go. Take advantage of thousands in discounts on all new Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Ford. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle. Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
You've got so many chances to win big on Hard Rock Bet. Even a small bet can bring in that serious cash. All you need is $1 and a dream.
Unbelievable. They've hit the parlay. Let's go!
Big payouts for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
It's Thanksgiving week, and Monahan Jewelers has the best deals in town with up to 40% off the entire store. Thousands of beautiful pieces are all on sale with fantastic prices on our entire inventory, including up to 30% off on GIA certified diamonds. We're your local family jeweler, so come visit us today and on Small Business Saturday for up to 40% off on diamond studs, engagement rings, colored gemstones, our designer brands, custom design, everything. The name you can trust in fine jewelry, Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and if I know anything about the dudes that listen to 1010, they've got their own list of toys that they'd like to have for Christmas. You've got some of them in your showroom.
We've got all of them. We've got the toys for them. We got the toys for the kids. We got go-karts, dirt bikes, side-by-sides, ATVs, you name it. We've got it, and we are ready for Christmas.
So you can shop for yourself and for your loved ones. It's all happening at Cycles of Jacksonville, online or on Atlantic near Regency.
You don't think this would be a good moment to text somebody?
There's never a bad moment to share your opinion on the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Share your opinion
as soon as possible
at 641-1010.
Joe C. for Blossman Gas. They've been providing hometown service in the comforts of propane to home and businesses since 1951. Imagine movie night spent around glowing gas fireplace logs, cookouts in the backyard with your propane grill, or laundry done faster with your gas dryer. Blossman has a wide variety of gas appliances to fit your needs. Propane delivery, gas appliances, and a full-service team. Blossman Gas is your local company for everything propane. Blossman Gas, log on, blossmangas.com, and check out the Blossman difference.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool? Our first contestant, a stay-at-home gymnast from Jacksonville, Florida. It's Gwendolyn Pierce.
Thank you, Monty. I don't know who installed my air conditioner, but it hasn't had a tune-up in over 3 years. Am I cool?
Let's ask our expert judging panel. Judges? I'm sorry, Gwendolyn. You're not cool. Johnny, tell her why.
That's right. To keep your air conditioner performing at its best, you need a skilled technician to check your pressures, voltages, and air filters in the fall and the spring. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, our club members get 2 free visits a year to make sure that you are cool.
Can you tell me if my haircut is sexy?
You're better off not asking.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Everything about the game has changed, except for the most important thing. What you have inside. It is what drives the game. It refuses to be ignored. It sweats every day, turns an athlete into a legend. Gatorade, is it in you?
From Gatorade Zero to Gatorade Endurance Formula and Gator Light, there's something for every athlete. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. It's a win-win. Gatorade, official partner of the NFL.
Hey, Jacksonville Koozies. It's me, Soccer Sam, for Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizza is now open in Jacksonville, Florida, Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. Daily $10 deals. Dine in with beer and wine and delivery at salvatores.com. The famous Formoso family brings Salvatore's Pizza, Rochester's favorite pizza, including our 32-piece sheet pizza for your next event. Go with me, baby. Salvatores.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Logman Tuesday
is brought to you by
Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, Jeff Logman here with us as we take a look at what the Jags do here on the field in the final 6 weeks of the season to try to close things out as best they can down the stretch here, and we'll find out about Trevor Lawrence as the week goes on. If you want to get in with Jeff, 641-1010, or you can post your questions and thoughts in a variety of ways, including social media accounts, which we've got several of those coming in already. But, Jeff, we'll start on the phone lines this morning. Again, 641-1010. Philip in Arlington going to be first up with Jeff Logman on Jaguars today. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, guys. Let me ask you this. I'm a diehard Jaguar fan. I'm 63, been there since day one. Why should we pay attention to the last 6 games? This is the most pathetic team I've ever seen, including the expansion team. The defensive coordinator, this defense is laughable. They can't run the ball. They're just. I'm tired of being a fan of a team mired in mediocrity. When is Trevor Lawrence going to be the generational quarterback? I don't watch college football. Did he cough up the rock in college like he does here? And Josh Hines Allen, bro, you get overpaid for being mediocre. I'm a veteran, man. I'm on disability, struggling to make my damn electric bill. And these guys got millions and millions. They don't look like they practice. They don't look like they care. So I'm not paying attention attention to the last 6 games.
All right, thanks, Philip. You don't have to. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to sit here and beg you to pay attention to Jaguar football. You're disgruntled with them. You're entitled to be. Logs, what do you say to somebody who feels that way?
Oh, I get it, but I mean, look, the reality is that this team matters to our city and to the fans of the city, and I think the emotions that he shows that he does care. You know, I mean, we all care about this team, and we all want them to be good. I mean, I don't think there's any doubting that. You know, and it's not fun when they're not good. I mean, especially when they have high expectations as they did going into the season. And do the last 6 games matter? I mean, probably not. But the reality is that they still got to play them, you know, and you can still enjoy watching the games and watching NFL football, you know. And I don't think they're going to go anywhere with it. But look, I'm going to watch the last 6 games. I'm going to call the last 6 games. I'm going to enjoy the last 6 games because it's the game I love and it's the team I love.
No, that's a good answer. You know, I'm not sure how much I'm going to enjoy it if the Jags continue to lose, but I understand your point of view. And look, everyone's entitled to feel how they feel about it. You know, like, I mean, Philip's feelings are understandable and justifiable, but I'm not going to sit here and, you know, make the case why you should hang on every moment of Jaguar football. That's really up to you. We're going to be here talking about it every single day because that's kind of what we do. And I agree with you. I do feel like they're an important part of the city. And, you know, I don't know if you don't want to, I don't know, go through the pain of losing or the disappointment of lack of high-level production. That's certainly your prerogative. Phil, appreciate the call. Let's go to Robert out in Keystone next up here with Jeff Logman on 1010XL. What's up, Robert?
Hey, guys. Appreciate the show. Just have a couple of questions here. After the season's over and you're reevaluating your roster, is there anyone that y'all would like think about trading, like ETN? That's been a hot topic here lately on discussions. What would you trade him for? Or would you trade him for draft picks, or would you trade him for someone that's already proven themselves, like an offensive lineman?
Yeah, I don't know if you're going
to go ahead. I like the thinking as far as like trading for an offensive lineman. I don't know if ETN is the answer or not, but you know, and ETN has not had his best year. He's had some injury issues, but I definitely believe that they've got to make some significant upgrades to both lines. You know, I think that was an area of concentration in the offseasons that they were trying to do, but I don't think it happened. You know, right now with this offensive line, you sit there and you watch Philadelphia, and obviously these are kind of extreme teams. You watch Philadelphia, you watch, oh gosh, the Detroit Lions. I mean, they're 2 of the best teams in the NFC. And you watch Kansas City, which I don't know if they have one of the best offensive lines in football, but, you know, I give Kansas City credit in that they've had the courage to try to remake their offensive line over the last couple of years to get better, knowing that they have a big-time quarterback and it matters in the trenches. And, you know, and defensively, the Jaguars tried to adjust and to address the needs there. But I don't think they did. I mean, in the offseason, with what the production level is right now with their defensive line, and defensive tackle was obviously the focus of where they needed to get better. I don't think they did get better. So, you know, when you talk about trading always, number one, you got to have a partner. Number two, you got to be willing to part ways with something of value, because if you're going to get something of value, you got to give up something of value, and you hope to end up getting the better of that trade. So it's going to be an interesting offseason, that's for sure, because, you know, first of all, who is going to be available, who's not going to be available, what's the mindset of this football team, where is this team at? I mean, there's so many different unknowns at this point with this football team that it's hard to kind of sit there and say, well, let's trade this guy and let's trade that guy, and then all things are going to be better.
Yeah, Travis Etienne right now has 325 rushing yards. I don't know what kind of offensive line help you are going to get for a guy putting up those kind of numbers. I mean, if it's a guy who's a starting caliber offensive lineman, teams don't like to give those away, and certainly not for a running back who's going to have 1 year left on his contract at that point.
And has had the injury issues that he's had to this point. It's not that he's always injured, but he's injured enough that it affects his trade value, I would think, to at least some degree. So, yeah, and it's hard. Teams don't let go of offensive linemen for running backs.
No. I mean, offensive linemen are extremely valuable. And, you know, look, the Jaguars had a 4th-round pick, you know, and Javon Foster hasn't seen a day of really being active. That I mean, I think I had one or maybe 2 games active just because of injury, kind of a situation. But hasn't been able to make much of an impact. And if you flip it over on the defensive line, the big question there is Mason Smith. You're talking about a second round pick who's had little to no contribution to this defensive front. Jordan Jefferson, I think he's been a little bit better, but I mean, still the impact has been minimal. So there's definitely, they tried to address it. And maybe these guys are long-term projects, but the reality is in the second round and the fourth round, you'd expect to see some kind of contribution or input. I'm not saying right away as a starter, but at least to help on a rotational basis, especially along the defensive front.
See, but I think there's a distinction between did they do anything and did they do the right thing, right? Because
that's right.
If you look since the beginning of last year, I mean, they spent a first-round pick on Anton Harrison, and we were all very happy after year one. So there was no reason to think he was going to struggle the way he has this year necessarily. They traded for Ezra Cleveland, and by all accounts, he's played pretty well this year. They signed him to a 3-year extension, right? Everybody complained about Fortner. They upgraded it. Mitch Morse has been a pretty solid guy at the position. And granted, they haven't turned over the left tackle position, but they had 2 guys that they felt like could play the spot. You can't have everything all at once. I think the offensive line has, put it this way, I don't think it's one of the best in the league, Logs, but I don't think it's been one of the worst in the league this year.
No, and totally agree with you. I mean, a lot of people were thinking they're like the worst offensive line in football, and I think far from it. I think Mitch Morse has been a huge upgrade, a huge upgrade. And I think if you watch the plays that Fortner was involved in this past game, I think it really just goes to show you how much of a contribution that Mitch Morse has had. So I think the question is going to be ran going forward is, Luke Fortner going to be able to give you anything at all? But anyway, the offensive line, Mike, I think they're not. I mean, they're not top 10. I think somewhere in the middle to, third quartile, I guess, in the league. But Mitch Morse has made a big difference with that.
All right. Thank you for the call. Let's move along here. Pedro is in Ponte Vedra, and if I can get this cursor, there it goes, to punch him up. Pedro, you're on Jaguars Today. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing, buddy?
Good,
Thanks for taking my call. What I don't understand is the defense hardly ever blitzes. Those linebackers just stay back, and the 4 men try to rush. Those corners and safeties, the safeties can't cover anybody anyway. I mean, do they even know there's such a thing as the safety blitz? You watch the more successful teams with defenses, and they blitz quite a bit, or, at least occasionally send an extra linebacker or 2 or blow that safety in there. And the Jags hardly ever do.
Should they be blitzing more on defense, Logs?
Well, first, let me say this. That's one of my favorite Pedros of all time.
Peter Bregan Jr.
Peter Bregan. Yeah. Love him. Okay.
Pretty distinctive voice there.
When I came to Jacksonville years ago, man, he was a great. Got so fired up to meet him and the Jacksonville Suns, and he was just, welcome me to the city with open arms and love him. Love him. But anyway, I mean, about blitzing, it's true. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, they're one of the lowest percentage of teams that blitz in the National Football League. I don't really understand why. Is it because they're concerned about assignment issues with blitzing? Because obviously when you blitz, it does create a little bit of a different coverage type of situation. And we've seen that this defense has not been very clean assignment wise, especially with some simplicity things like cat coverage, which I always say cat coverage is man coverage, means I got that cat, you got that cat, and he's got that cat. It's kind of like pointing out like playing playground football. And they've had breakdowns just with that. Guys, you remember to the game a couple weeks ago against Detroit, and or a little over a week ago against Detroit, when you had Jahmyr Gibbs, I think it was, swinging out of the backfield and nobody was covering him. I mean, it's man coverage. I mean, how hard is that? Somebody's got to cover that guy. And I think it was like, I don't remember how many yard gain it was, maybe 50 or 60, something like that, something ridiculous. But, this defense right now has not been very assignment clean, and maybe that's the worry. I don't know. But this defense is struggling in zone. They're struggling in man. And right now, it's the biggest weakness of this football team. It's and the sad part is that they've kind of progressed with different weaknesses. At the beginning of the season, they were pretty good against the run, and they were really struggling against the pass and the explosive plays. And then the last 3 weeks, all of a sudden now you haven't been very good against the run, and obviously the teams that you faced are a little bit more physical with Philly and Detroit. But I mean, in the last 3 games, you've given up like 602 yards rushing. And this week against Houston, they're I don't want to say they're a dominant running team, but they got a really good back and Joe Mixon. And when he gets on a roll, he's tough to stop. So they've got to get back to stopping the run. They've got to get back to finding a way to get pressure. And I think part of the issue is that, in a perfect world, Pedro, you don't want to blitz. You'd like to do 4-man pressure because it allows you to keep more guys back and in coverage. And if you can accomplish pressure with 4 men, then you're doing really good. But right now, the Jaguars defensively are getting basically zero production out of the defensive tackles from a pressure standpoint. The edges are the only area that it's coming from, and it makes it very, I think, easy for offenses to contend with because you can chip on the edges and make sure they get plenty of attention. And up front, you're not getting any push, which makes it harder for your edge guys. So it is what it is, and I'm going to be real. I'm looking forward to seeing what this defense can do in the last 6 games to see if they can get better because I don't want to say it can't get worse because it always can. But hopefully they can be better here in the last 6 games.
All right, Pedro, thank you for the call. For the rest of you on the line, please give us a little patience. We'll get to you coming out of the next break. Coming up with Jeff Logman here with us. You're listening to Jaguars Today on a semi-Check the Tape Tuesday on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents in the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A. member FDIC.
Movember is Men's Health Awareness Month, so take charge of your health and vitality at Ackerman Urology in Mandarin, Middleburg, The Beaches, and Whirl Golf Village. For prostate and urological needs, trust Ackerman Urology. AckermanUrology.com.
AC replacement? If your AC unit is ready to go kaput, then it's time to call Florida Home AC. With over $3,000 in tax credits waiting for you on select systems, take advantage of it. Call 777-4300. Get Florida Home AC to cool you off.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyoublow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's finally here. Beaver's annual Black Friday silent sale. Every car on the lot will be discounted so low, we can't even show the prices on TV. Doors open at 6 a.m. Friday. First come, first served. And once they're gone, it's over. Plus, anyone who buys between 6 and 9 a.m. will get a big screen TV and $1,000 cash. Want more? We're giving away free oil changes between 6 and 9 a.m. The Black Friday silent sale only at Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet. You don't want to miss this.
Jacksonville's football phenoms tell us where they're heading when high school's early signing period begins. I'm Hacker, and 1010XL will tell you everything you need to know.
Brought to you by San Jose Collision and Premier Physical Therapy.
Break in the savings this fall with Universal Roof and Contracting. Enjoy 15% off all roof repairs and replacements, plus a free wind mitigation inspection. With financing options as low as $115 a month, protecting your home has never been easier. Schedule your free roof inspection today. Call 855-ROOF-HELP. Offer expires November 30th. Protect your home and your wallet.
License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Mack and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars to trucks to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out the Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
If you're tired of your fence looking like a bad hair day, well, it's time for a fence makeover with Superior Fence and Rail. They'll make your yard the talk of the town with a new fence installed by their expert team.
Your fence is fantastic. My fence is giving all of my neighbors some serious pick and envy. Thanks, Superior Fence and Rail.
So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your fence installation project today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
Frank Franzi here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
The Jaguars have scored just 7 and 6 points the last 2 times that they've played. Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson on how you get the offense going.
I mean, we got to keep working as a staff, put our players in position to make plays on the field, and then ultimately the players, execute the game plan. Last week was about trying to find ways to do that, and we're gonna implement some things and really kind of get back to some things that I think were successful, have been successful for us. Rhythm, tempo, whatever. Try to get things going, but ultimately we got to focus as a staff, as players, and just continue to do our jobs.
Jags Texans Sunday at 1. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Logman Tuesday is serviced by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, just a couple more days in our broadcast week here with Thanksgiving coming up. No tape to check per se, but it's still a ceremonial check the tape Tuesday with Jeff Logman here on Jaguars Today. If you want to get your questions answered, 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. The quickest way to do that, we'll get to social media here in a minute, Logs. Let's get Sean on the south side next up here on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Sean.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. Jeff, I know you played on a few bad Jaguar squads, and my question is, did you guys have like a sense of pride about about yourselves, and wanted to play harder, to get wins? And what's your thoughts on this team, this current team? Do you think they'll play with a sense of pride, or are they ready to pack it in? And I'll take our comments offline.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, great question, Sean. And the only bad Jaguars team that I played on was our expansion team, and obviously the first year we really didn't have a great amount of talent on our football team, being an expansion team. But we were quick to turn that around the next year. But that first year that we were playing, there was a great sense of pride that look, you just keep working because we're building towards something. And we all kind of understood that the first year was going to have a lot of growing pains, and we just wanted to continue to grow through the process. And we obviously did because of the great success that the team had in its early years. But yeah, it's not fun. And look, the reality is that every player that steps onto the football field is an independent contractor and their own entity as far as being a business. And so you make money and you make a living based on your performance. And so at the end of the day, to be a professional, you need to show up and you need to play well, and you need to play well so that your teammates can play well. And you hope that the team as a whole can kind of rally around each other and stay together, and to be able to have some type of positive influence and positive performance. And it's not easy. It's not easy when you're in this situation that they're in. But look, it's possible. And I think if Trevor plays this week, I think it's a lot different scenario as far as the energy and the positivity. If he plays, I think this football team, not only from the bye week, getting a little bit of a mental break, but then also get a little bit rejuvenated because Trevor is back out on the field. The reality is he's your starting quarterback, and he gives the team the best chance to win.
Unquestioned. And anybody who has those questions certainly has kept them to themselves for the last couple of weeks here on this program and talking about the listening audience. By the way, we're talking about what the Jags have done to improve this offensive line. They're never done, Logs. They continue to strive to improve. Signing Tyler Shatley to the practice squad, baby. He's back. He is back. We're wondering if he just wants to make sure he can try to get in for that Jets game so he can wear those sweet Prowler throwbacks.
I'm pumped.
That's a possibility right there. But Trevor's happy. Tyler Shatley's back. But this question, Logs, on Twitter from Trevor, not Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Carroll. Now that they're 2-9, is it time to start looking at certain players getting more playing time? And if so, which ones? In other words, maybe some young guys who, may not have taken a spot from somebody, but you want to get a longer look at them.
Yeah, and we kind of get these questions every year when the team is not doing well. And look, I get it. I think along the offensive line, you really don't have, with the exception of Javon Foster, any young guys that you're sitting there going, oh, let's just take a look at him. The reality is, look, they would be playing if there was a need to get a look at them or there was some kind of positivity. There's a couple positions, though, that I think that there does need to be a look at more younger guys, not because of, oh, well, we're losing, just because I think they're better. At defensive back, for example, I think Monteric Brown should get more play time than a Ronald Darby, per se, or Jarian Jones should get more play time than a Ronald Darby. I think their play has been better. To team them up with Tyson Campbell, I think, would be a positive. At the safety position, Wingard is working his way back. I mean, does he eventually get more play time back there? Maybe. Along the defensive line, there's really not anybody that I would sit there and say, yeah, I want to see more of him. But one position on offense we're going to see definitely some different people is that wide receiver. With Gabe Davis going to IR, who's going to fill that void there? I'm not sure, but more than likely it's going to be a younger player.
Do we lose Logs? We may have.
I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Here. Okay. I thought you might have popped out for a second. Didn't want to interrupt you. What about DeAndre Prince? What have you seen from him this year? And, in terms of talking about guys that should get more playing time ahead of Ronald Darby, if Ronald Darby's not in the long-term plans, that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's not just throw him in there, but has he done enough to justify getting a longer look at him?
I mean, for me, I want to see him active. Like, for example, against the Detroit Lions, he wasn't even active. But I'm not going to put him ahead of the pecking order of a Monteric Brown or a Jarian Jones. I mean, I like some of the things that he did in training camp. I think you guys probably remember me talking about how, he's got some really good man skills, and the Jaguars play a lot of man coverage. So would I like to see him active on game day? Yes. Do I want to see him play ahead of Jarian Jones or Monteric Brown? No, he's not ready for that yet.
All right, Logs, so this one from Ed, back to the offensive line. How do you project the options this offseason for offensive tackle? We know Walker Little is an impending free agent. Would you flip Anton Harrison to the left side? Are you looking to go the free agent or draft route to fill that spot, or would you consider finding a way to keep Walker Little in-house?
Well, I mean, first of all, you'd always like to keep players that are good players. I think Walker Little's a good player. I don't think he's a great player. I think there's a big question mark of what you're going to do with Anton Harrison. I think he's built for left tackle. That's where he played at in college. I think he's got the feet for that. The disappointing thing for me is the level of play that he's at this year. I really thought that he would take a step up. So I think it's going to be interesting there. And I think Anton Harrison should play left tackle, and then you work at finding a right tackle, and whether that's Walker Little, you resign him or bring in competition. But the reality is Walker Little's probably going to get a little play in free agency, man. Anytime a tackle that's got starts under his belt hits free agency, they're going to get paid a lot of money. So how much money is that going to be for a Walker Little? So that's going to be one of those things you just got to wait and see. But if Anton Harrison can be your left tackle, I don't want to say it's easier to find a right tackle because it's never easy to find a tackle, period. But you can help a right tackle, I think, a lot more so than you can a left tackle. If Anton Harrison can up his level of play, and maybe he plays better at left tackle. Maybe he's more natural there. Maybe he's more motivated there. I don't know.
How do you know, though, but if all he's done is play right tackle for you at this level? I know there's film coming out of college on him, but how do you know if that guy's ready for that switch? Because once you make that, you're kind of committed to that course of action.
Well, I think you go back and you look at his college tape, and you also look at his kind of body at work at right tackle. Last year, the number of players that he faced at right tackle and the success that he had, I think would give you some encouragement and would give you some positive feelings towards moving him to left tackle. This year, the finish really hasn't been great. I think he's more healthy than he was last year, which is kind of surprising to see that his performance hasn't quite been as what you would expect. But I think you look at the body work, Mike, you look at the college tape, and you look at him playing right tackle now, and I think those things will tell you that he does have that ability.
All right, Logs, this one, this may be one we need to hit the break and let you mull over a little bit, but if you want to tackle it right now, you can. Self-scouting this team, what are 2 or 3 things you'd like to see them improve on before the end of the season? Not in the win-loss column necessarily, just areas of team or individual improvement, or have some questions about this roster answered. Is that one you want to mull on, or does certain things leap to mind for you?
No, we can jump right at it. I mean, first and foremost, I want to see Trevor's kind of arrow get back to going up. We saw, kind of up and down this year, and we haven't seen in key moments to where he's got the ball 2 minutes to go or 4 minutes to go, like it was in Houston, with an opportunity to close the game out, or Miami, end of the ball game, got the ball in your hands. Okay, just go win it. I want to see that out of Trevor Lawrence, in these remaining 6 games. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of if he's medically clear, to put him on IR because it's a lost year. No, you want him to build and to accomplish those moments that you want to see him start to attain, which are the signs of being a franchise quarterback. And he needs to have those experiences, and he actually needs to play to be able to accomplish those things. So that's number one at the forefront for me. Number 2 is that defensively, find some kind of success somewhere, consistency, and not allow the explosive plays that you've been allowing on a game-by-game basis. I mean, how many yards did they allow against the Detroit Lions? I mean,
645 maybe?
Ungodly amount. I mean, it's like in the last 2 games, you're over, it's like over 1,000 yards allowed. I mean, you just want to see the defense have something to hang their hat on, because they haven't had anything to hang their hat on. And I think that one of the changes that Doug Peterson's talking about that he didn't want to share with the public in his press conference, I think there's got to be some changes in the lineup on the defensive side of the ball. If there's not, I would be very surprised. And lastly, you want to see this team play with a level of excitement and emotion. we've seen so many games this year to where they come out and we keep using the term flat or, just not into it. Where's the emotion? I mean, football is an emotional game, and football is a game that has energy. I want to see this team play with some daggum energy. Just like this year, it's like an energy void. And I want to see this team get back to having energy, because if you don't play the game with energy, you might as well not play it.
Where does that come from, though? Is that self-motivation, or is that the coaching staff needs them to get them in the right frame of mind to play? I mean, is there equal responsibility, or at least some shared responsibility in that department?
I think it's everything, Mike. I think it's got to come from coaches. It's got to come from the players themselves, the leadership on the team. I mean, that's like the reality is at the end of the day, I mean, you control what you put out on the field, right? I mean, coaches, players, everybody. And so everybody has a hand in the energy level.
All right, Jeff Logman here. We're only halfway home. Still plenty of time for you to get in if you've got a specific question about Jacksonville Jaguar football 2024, 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Still keep them coming in on social media and the various chats that are available to you as well. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Jeff Logman, Dylan Denmark here with you on Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. When you don't want to wait till tomorrow for analysis of today's game, get it 2 hours after the final whistle. Hacker Leon and Coach Campo bring you the window world of Northeast Florida fifth quarter. Presented by Von Rowan Law and Hurricane Grill and Wings.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
Garber Auto Mall is home of a lifetime warranty. Every new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chevy, Buick, GMC, and Ford comes with a lifetime warranty. At Garber Auto Mall, your purchase is covered for life. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle.
Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
I'm Sawyer, and a little thing that I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich is the crispy chicken filet. The seasoning is so satisfying. It's what I needed, but I didn't know that I needed it. You get the toasted bun and the delicious crispy chicken. They add this fun mix with that zesty pickle. It's bold and tasty. I would give it an A+. What's not to love? The holidays are all about being together and eating together.
Sandwich in some together time this holiday. Order the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich today. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
The best teal-colored coverage includes Mia's Quick Hits.
Get the latest news from inside the building and around the league. I'm Mia O'Brien, 1010XL's NFL Insider.
Driven by Arlington Toyota. Available on the video and social channels of 1010XL.
This is Corona Premier. Just 90 calories and 2.6 grams of carbs. It's a light beer that... Wait, this is a light beer? But we shouldn't really tell people about... Right, that's why I'm here. Sorry. Corona Premier, unexpectedly, light beer.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Save money this holiday season. Buy pre-owned. That's right. Pre-owned guns, guitars, surfboards, tools, and especially jewelry. Beaches Jewelry and Pawn is here to help you save. Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach. Online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool? Our first contestant, a stay-at-home gymnast from Jacksonville, Florida. It's Gwendolyn Pierce.
Thank you, Monty. I don't know who installed my air conditioner, but it hasn't had a tune-up in over 3 years. Am I cool?
Let's ask our expert judging panel. Judges? Oh, I'm sorry, Gwendolyn. You're not cool. Johnny, tell her why.
That's right. To keep your air conditioner performing at its best, you need a skilled technician to check your pressures, voltages, and air filters in the fall and the spring. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, our club members get 2 free visits a year to make sure that you are cool.
Can you tell me if my haircut is sexy?
You're better off not asking.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
If golf is your thing, you'll want to check out the 2025 Hills Pass at Hidden Hills Golf Club. Unlimited golf, including golf car, and preferred tee times for just one low price. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com to purchase your Hills Pass today.
Welcome to Rockville. North America's largest rock festival returns to the Daytona International Speedway in 2025 with Green Day, Korn, Shinedown, and Linkin Park. Plus Bad Omens, Incubus, Good Charlotte, Rob Zombie, Alice in Chains, Pierce the Veil, Marilyn Manson, 3 Days Grace, Sublime, Hailstorm, I Prevail, Three Doors Down, Jimmy Eat World, Motionless in White, Bush, Chevelle, Mudvayne, and so many more. Welcome to Rockville takes over the Daytona International Speedway May 15th to the 18th, 2025. 5 stages, 4 days, and over 150 bands. 4-day, single-day camping and VIP passes on sale now at welcometorockville.com.
Hey, John, are you ready to cruise into the holidays in style?
Absolutely. The King of Price has incredible offers that you won't want to miss.
That's right. Buy a brand new 2024 Escalade and receive a $3,000 rebate.
Or if leasing is more your style, you can choose a 2024 Escalade or a 2025 Lyric and receive a $1,000 rebate.
It's the perfect time to upgrade your ride and make this holiday season unforgettable.
Visit us at Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard in Jacksonville. Plus tax tag title $899 admin fee and resist all unapproved credit.
Tell them Jennifer sent you.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, sponsored by the Dart Bar. Florida head coach Billy Napier remarked on how he was getting the Gators to tune out the noise as they prepare for FSU.
We have a pretty big number of players that have been on the grass and on the sideline when these guys have beaten us the last 2 years. We have enough maturity to get ready to play again.
Look for the Noles to once again start Luke Kromenau against Florida. Head coach Mike Norvell likes how he performed last Saturday.
I thought Luke did a really nice job of creating the explosives, sustaining some drives. The expectation is that Luke will be starting, and obviously we'll go and throw everything we have into it.
The Jacksonville Dolphins dropped an opening round matchup against Mercer in overtime to open the Fort Myer tip-off basketball tournament. The Dolphins led for most of the contest but faltered late. They'll face Siena today at 11 a.m. At your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, I'm Sam Nelson.
At 10:58, it's 70 degrees. Time at 10, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler, Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Logman Tuesday
is brought to you by
Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, we get into the second hour of Jaguars today. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark, and, of course, Jeff Logman every Tuesday here. No tape to check per se, but going over a lot of the different situations the Jaguars find themselves in. Jeff, let's focus here a little bit on defense. You said, the defensive shortcomings have obviously stood out this year. They gave up the most yards that the Detroit Lions have ever gained in a game, and they've been playing football for nearly 100 years as that organization. They gave up 52 points. It was the biggest blowout loss in team history. I'm just talking about the most recent one. So Joaquin asks on social media, in your opinion, Jeff, are the defensive failures due to the talent, the players, or maybe, the lack of talent or not doing the right things, missing assignments? Is it scheme? Is it the way they're being coached? Obviously, it's probably a combination of these things, but how would you rank the issues on the defense if you were to begin there?
Yeah, so it's a tough one as far as if you're going to rank them. But I mean, when you're kind of at or near the bottom and basically every metric, I mean, it's got to be a little bit of everything. And I mean, what total defense are they last in the league still? Right, points allowed.
Oh yeah,
it's just.
I mean, they were last in the league before giving up 52 and 600 yards.
It's just not very good. I mean, and you sit there and you go, okay, what can they hang their hat on? I mean, seriously, I mean, can you, Dylan, or Tony, or Mike? I mean, what's the one thing that this defense can hang their hat on?
Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen play hard.
Trayvon's had a good year, right?
Ventrell. That's it.
Yeah, Ventrell is going to attack ball carriers and play downhill.
What's the percentage of snaps that he's getting?
Well, you're asking, and there aren't many things that are obvious. So, look, you're the one who played defense in the National Football League logs. If you were taking over this defense, and obviously I'm not politicking for you to be the defense coordinator here, right? I'm just saying from your vantage point, you've got some pieces that you've invested pretty heavily in, some guys that we think are good players. What would you do to get more out of this? What is the answer? Where do you begin to fix the defense?
Well, I think I mentioned this before, and I'm going to say it again, and that I think you got to change some things that you're doing and who's playing and where they're playing. For me, Monteric Brown is going to be my starting corner opposite of Tyson Campbell. And Jarian Jones is going to be my nickel. And Devon Lloyd, I think he's a good person and he plays hard and he has some athletic ability, but there's times that he just loses eye discipline and he makes mistakes. And that's one of the reasons why they're giving up explosives on defense. I'm going to play Ventrell Miller in that situation. I'm going to move Eric Armstead to play defensive tackle. Well, it's what's best for the team. I mean, just those things right there. And I mean, then you kind of see where you're going from there. I'm also going to keep rotating Andrew Wingard in. And, kind of the reality is that you play the best. And if you're not playing the best, I think, then, then you're not making the right decisions that's best for the team.
I know Tyson Campbell has had multiple seasons now with the hamstring issue that obviously gets him, it's hard for him to get into a rhythm on the field here in 24 and last year as well. But when he's been on the field here the last couple of weeks, what has your impression been of Tyson Campbell?
Oh, you go back, a couple weeks ago, Green Bay, I thought he was really good. I mean, really good. This past game against Detroit, not as good. And that's the challenge of being, if you're going to be that guy, then you got to find consistency. And I think, look, I'm okay with Tyson's performance. And as far as overall, I think he's okay. And obviously the hamstring and the unavailability there, I mean, cost this football team quite a bit. And it cost Tyson a level of kind of consistency that you want to have. But I liked his level of play. I would like to see him have a little bit more flexibility as far as playing left and right. Most teams, typically the best corners playing on their defensive left side, right? And Tyson continues to stay kind of on that right. Maybe it's a comfort level with him, but, venture out of the comfort zone a little bit. If your defense is at or near the bottom of everything in the league, why not try to put him on the other side? I mean, most teams are right-handed. Most quarterbacks are right-handed. Most teams throw to the right side. That's where typically the best corners play. Maybe even try something like that.
Logs, this one from the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures about Devon Hamilton. Why has he not developed into a dominant player? Always seems to flash in training camp, but then doesn't have that kind of season. What is that a mystery to you, or what do you feel about where he is in his career?
The Philly game, he played really well. I thought he played well. I mean, even though Philly had some yardage, but I mean, look, the tush push, he did a great job, and I thought a lot of the running game wasn't in his neighborhood. And then his past game, he got pushed around. So did everybody. It seems like in that game against the Detroit Lions. And they paid him a good amount of money a couple of years ago, and then he had the back injury, and the consistency hasn't been there. The level of play hasn't quite been there. I give him credit. He's working hard. He plays hard, but it's just not where you want it to be at this point with him.
Where I know you can split it however you want to split it between the coaching staff and the front office and the player, but where do you put the blame in the Eric Armstead situation? That we talk about how much they're struggling at defensive tackle right now. He's their best defensive tackle. Why isn't he being asked to play defensive tackle for this football team at this point? Because that's where they need his help. Where do you split up the blame for that not having happened yet?
Yeah, I don't know, because I mean, you got to kind of know what was the whole premise of bringing him to Jacksonville. What was he told? What did he say? And I'm not familiar with what that is. I don't know what they told him. I don't know what he told them. But the reality is that this football team would be best served having him at defensive tackle. That's where they need the help. And kind of oddly, they constructed this roster with him as an edge player when that's not what he is. He's not. I mean, look, is he a big end in certain situations like Calais Campbell could have done? Sure. But for the most part, he is a defensive tackle. That's where his impact has been felt. Look at the productivity when he's taking snaps at edge versus defensive tackle. It's a different world. And I don't know, again, what was said, what his contract says. I don't know if it's there, but the roster is constructed with him as an edge player, and that's curious to me. I mean, Miles Cole is the only other real edge on this entire roster,
right?
And I don't understand kind of that. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I was like, him at edge. I said, okay, if it's on first down and it's, he's that strong side big end, okay, I can see him as an end, not an edge. But for whatever reason, they have been playing him, for the most part, as an edge.
Yeah, and this to me, just reading the context clues, is a front office issue, because Ryan Nielsen was asked about this several weeks ago, and he's like, well, this is what the player expressed. And I'm paraphrasing here, but this is what the player expressed he wanted to do. In other words, when he signed him, I can't imagine a defensive coordinator will go, this guy fits us best here, but I'm not going to use him that way, right? It seems like maybe he's been handcuffed a little bit on that front. At least that's how I
don't know.
interpret it. I don't know. I'm just trying to go on the public comments that they've made. Logs, this one from John in Fleming Island. Do you think the defensive players are trying to play, too individualistically, trying to maybe prove themselves, some of them for the next team that they're going to be on, or instead of just, how it gets sometimes when a guy tries to do too much and he jumps in the wrong gap because he feels like he's the only one who can make the play. What do you see? Is it miscommunications, guys making the wrong reads? What are the breakdowns on defense that consistently show up on film?
Well, I think it's a couple different things. And one is that you're not very assignment clean at times. And then if you're not assignment clean, then
what does that mean? Explain that if you would.
All right, so let's say that you have gaps across your defensive front, right? And so let's say you got and everybody, so from the center going left, you got A, B, C, and then D, okay, and then going to the right of the center, A, B, C, and D. And when you play a gap defense, which is what everybody pretty much plays in the National Football League, you have one person that's assigned to a gap. So, for example, let's say Devon Hamilton is assigned to gap A on the right side. Okay, and let's say that Foye, okay, is responsible for gap B on that right side. And let's say as Foye is running downhill, all of a sudden, and I'm just using this as an example, Devon is not in gap A. And so now Foye is like, oh my God, I have gap B, but gap A is wide open too. So now you have somebody else who is kind of non-committal to their gap and worried about another gap that's not there. And so then you have a mistake. So now you have, let's say all of a sudden Devon Hamilton gets back into that gap, into his A gap somehow. Well, because maybe Foye was slow to commit to gap B because he saw that gap A was open for a minute. Well, then all of a sudden the back hits B and he hits it with speed, and Foye can't recover after being kind of a little hesitant because A was open for just a slight second. So it's things like that. I mean, if you have one guy out of a gap, all of a sudden, you could have 9 guys in the gap, okay, and you're perfect. but you have one guy out of a gap. And then all of a sudden it can be a big play if everybody's just, in that one gap. I mean, that's what can happen. Now, it doesn't usually result in touchdowns when one guy gets out of his gap because other guys end up recovering and play and make a play out of their own gap. But if you're not clean, you're not assignment clean, then you have others that are hesitant. And then all of a sudden they're not as assignment clean. And then it's like a domino effect in a lot of situations when everybody's clean. For example, I was watching, again, I'm going to go back to this film, watching Tennessee defense play against Houston. And Tennessee's defense, I mean, those two guys up in the front, I mean, they're kicking everybody's rear end. And so they're really more than just taking care of their gaps, with Simmons and who's the draft pick that they got from Texas?
Oh, Tavondre Sweat?
Yeah, Tavondre Sweat. I mean, these guys are crushing it. So a lot of times they're taking up three gaps, between the two of them, and now all of a sudden the linebacker is just downhill and vicious, and they're playing on the Houston Texans side of the ball, so it allows the linebackers to be more physical, more aggressive, more downhill. The Jaguars' defensive front, the defensive tackles in particular, their performance hasn't been great, hasn't been consistent. So now you have hesitancy from the safeties and the linebackers and others that are trying to play off of them, and it's cost them. I mean, that's one of the reasons why, again, going back to 602 yards rushing in the last three games is one of the reasons why. And on top of that, you got physically beat up against the Detroit Lions. They were moving the line of scrimmage in that game downhill, and it was too easy for the Detroit Lions running backs in that game.
Jeff, I think they would have called them loafs when you were playing, but I think there's been some pretty notable examples of that through the first 10 games of the year. The defense seemed to have played hard, though, for the most part, even if they weren't playing well before the Detroit game, where it looked like they really kind of let go of the rope. What is your level of concern that attitude will carry over to the Houston game and the rest of the season?
I don't expect that it will, but I can tell you that was definitely a game that, whether you want to call it loaf, quit, I mean, whatever, that Detroit Lions game was not a good one. You watched the film and you didn't see effort across the board, and that's not good enough. And it will be interesting to see how this defense bounces back this week against Houston Texans offense that is, quite frankly, struggling a little bit. I think C.J. Stroud has, 5 interceptions in the last 3 games. Their offensive line is not producing at the level that they need to be producing at, and they're just not consistent with their running game. And when you're not consistent with your running game, as we've seen with Trevor Lawrence in the past, it makes it even tougher on the quarterback.
Oh, by the way, Tavondre Sweat is listed at 6'4", 366.
He's every bit of it too, Mike.
That's what he's listed at, bro. He's probably 380 if he's listed at 366. So that's a big man right there. The Jags have to look forward to twice down the stretch this year. All right, Logs, let's take a time out here. Plenty more to get to on the Jaguar front as they look forward to getting back on the field for Week 13, hopefully with Trevor Lawrence under center. Jeff Logman's along with us on a modified Check the Tape Tuesday. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Andersen Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Someone's going to win a tailgate combo pack from Southern Steer Butcher, valued at $100, and it could be you. Yes! Every month you'll have a shot at a Corona tailgate tent with a cooler, chair, and a collectible football. It's the ultimate tailgate. Enter at 1010XL.com.
Are you ready to upgrade your home? Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen. Energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Right now, save 20% on your entire project. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires November 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
Greetings from Daytona, where a band of dreamers took a strip of beach and turned it into a proving ground. The Great American Race, where year after year, greatness is the destination.
Start your engines, let's go!
So book your experience and soak in 500 miles of history and tradition. The Daytona 500, February 16th, 2025. Secure your seats now at Daytona500.com.
When pests invade your space, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast.
and you need to keep them out. At Terminix, we show up for you and eliminate pests quicker because we care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so do we. Don't live with a pest problem. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com. Terminix it.
If you're looking for the best in indoor air quality, I've got the experts to call. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jaguars, specializing in the best air quality for your home or work with the Remy Halo. Instead of waiting for pollutants to travel through the ductwork to be neutralized, the Halo cell releases friendly oxidizers every time your fan blows air, helping those in your home that suffer from allergies and other respiratory issues. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and start enjoying cool comfort and clean air.
Jags fans, looking for the perfect activity around the holidays? We've got you covered with the inaugural Teal Trot 5K. The race takes place outside Everbank Stadium, Saturday, December 21st. We can't wait to see you there. Your registration includes the 5K, a throwback Jaguars headband, and a ticket to the December 29th game against the Titans. Visit jaguars.com/Teal Trot to sign up today.
It's hard to stop. The Tomahawk Chop.
I'm RJ Saunders. Follow Florida State's road to the college football playoff on the Seminole Report.
Brought to you by your local Ag Pro, your home team on 1010XL.
It's a game 80 years in the making. Join us for Thursday Night Football as we celebrate the 80th birthday of the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl game. The SEC and ACC face off January 2nd at 7:30 on Bill Gay grounds at Everbank Stadium. Don't miss college football pageantry on display as we celebrate our 80th anniversary. Tickets and hospitality packages are on sale now at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. Get yours today.
When you take a sip of Bold City Brewery's many flavors, you're taking a sip of this Bold City. In Duval, since 2008, they've been cranking out craft beer for 16 plus years now. So head to their production house on Roselle Street in Riverside or Bold City downtown and sample a Duke's, their legendary brown ale. 2 great IPAs, plus Duval Light, Killer Whale, and plenty more. It's all on tap at Bold City Brewery, downtown or in Riverside. Log on and taste the craft. BoldCityBrewery.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at AMCOJacksonville.com.
Firefighters, paramedics, police officers, they take care of us, and at AMCO, we're proud to take care of them. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. As an essential business, we work on every kind of car repair with flexible financing and extra safety precautions. Essential, reliable, trusted. That's the men and women who are there for us, and it's our honor to be there for them. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia. AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Logman Tuesday is serviced by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, Logs along with us here. Not quite a check the tape Tuesday. Jags didn't play this past weekend. 6 to go in the 2024 campaign. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark, along with Jeff Logman. Before we get back to Jeff, let's take a look around the rest of the National Football League.
Now, gems around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Houston safety Jalen Petrie will miss multiple weeks with a partial pectoral tear that he suffered on Sunday. His timetable for a return is unknown as of now, and he will not be undergoing surgery for the injury, but he will not be playing this week, obviously. Indianapolis wide receiver Josh Downs is being called week to week and considered a long shot to play this week with a shoulder injury. Former New York Giants quarterback Daniel Jones has cleared waivers, so he is officially a free agent. The Giants are hopeful that Tommy DeVito will be good to go against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. Carolina is continuing to monitor tight end Jatavian Sanders. He has reportedly avoided major injury and was at the Panthers facility on Monday. Cleveland wide receiver Cedric Tillman remains in the league's concussion protocol following Thursday night football. Washington running back Austin Eckler has been placed in the league's concussion protocol. A scary hit on him late in that game on Sunday. New England defensive back Jabril Peppers has been reinstated from the commissioner's exempt list, and New York Jets interim head coach Jeff Ulbrich responded to stories swirling around his quarterback Aaron Rodgers, saying that the team has no plans to shut down Rodgers and that he looks healthier coming out of the team's bye.
All right. We'll see how they do down the stretch as well. Jags will play the Jets in just a few weeks coming up. Let's get back, Logs, before we get back to you. Here was Doug Peterson being asked yesterday about any changes that the team made during the bye week.
Last week you said as far as changes go, everything was on the table. Did you decide on any changes?
Yes.
Any changes that you'll share?
Nothing that I'll share at this time. And I personally think that just to be a little bit more clear on that, it's sort of, I say that to say this, that a lot of these are in-house, and these are things that we focus on as a staff and as a team, and I just don't think they need to be in the open right now.
So what's your guess, Logs, to what kind of changes Doug Peterson is alluding to, even if we don't know what the specifics are?
That's a great question, and I don't know. And I think it's going to be, even though it's kind of a lost season and the team is for all but certain going to not make the playoffs. I mean, it's still, there's a lot of intriguing aspects to this game for me. One is Trevor Lawrence going to play? What are these changes that Doug Peterson talks about? What are they going to be? How will this team bounce back from a lackadaisical effort against a Detroit Lions football team that you got dominated? How will they return from the bye week? Look, the Texans aren't exactly playing good football either. Look, I think they've won, one game out of the last 3 or 4 games, I think.
They're 1-3 in their last 4, yep.
Yeah, not very good. And C.J. Stroud has thrown, I think, 5 picks in the last 3 games. I mean, so, I get that a lot of people may end up having a lot of frustration with this Jaguars football team. But, again, I love this team. I love the city. And I want to see what this team is going to do this week. It's, for me, my popcorn is ready because I want to see what's going to happen. What are those changes going to be? Hell, I don't know. But, if you're not making change and if you're going to stay the same, you're making a mistake. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to see noticeable stuff like, Doug Peterson talked about the way they do things. It could be more, behind the scenes stuff. Who's responsible for this? Who's responsible for that? I'm not sure. But one question we got this morning from our friend Bush Drive Rich, he asked, do you think we'll see more 12 personnel packages? In other words, more 2 tight end sets, almost out of necessity here with Gabe Davis going down for the season. Are we going to see Brenton Strange on the field with Evan Ingram more than we have?
Look, I'm all for it. I know that Doug talked about 2 at the beginning of the bye week about kind of reevaluating where their run game is and getting back to the run game being more effective. And one of the ways that you can do that is by using that personnel because Brenton Strange's a good football player, really good football player. So, and also you got a need now because you've got a deficiency in personnel groupings, So do you just elevate a guy from the practice squad and keep doing the same thing personnel grouping wise, or do you lean more towards getting Brenton Strange on the field with Evan Ingram? I would get Brenton Strange on the field. I mean, Evan Ingram is essentially a wide receiver anyway, so he's not really a 2 tight end set. He's really more of a wide receiver, and defenses still treat him as a wide receiver. So even if you're playing Evan Ingram and Parker Washington and Brian Thomas, they're going to treat that like a nickel grouping, a 3 wide receiver set anyway. So go with that. I think you're getting a good football player on the field who's been a very good receiver in Brenton Strange, but then also a magnificent, fantastic blocker.
Now, this past game, Brian Thomas did have 7 targets, but, that's been an issue with the team. I think he went through a 3-game stretch where he had like 8 total, something like that. Logs, is this something that you would try to make a point of emphasis, regardless of who's playing quarterback? Do they have to try to, and I feel like we talk about this a lot, but continually try to stay on top of it to manufacture opportunities for probably their most explosive offensive weapon?
Yeah, and I think they did a good job of that this past game as far as getting him involved early, making sure that you're, because look, the reality is there was a couple games there where Brian was getting the extra attention, and I thought his energy level dropped a little bit because he wasn't getting the targets and he wasn't getting involved. This past game, you got him targets early. It kept his energy level up. And look, it makes you a better football team when you have more targets going to your best wide receiver. So you're a fool if you're not going to find a way to target Brian Thomas Jr. more. And I think you got to keep that going. And I'm not saying you need to throw him the first 3 footballs of the game, but get him involved early.
What about Keelan Robinson? He's cleared to come back now. What's the most we can hope for? Maybe some kickoff returns? I mean, it seems like they're pretty set when healthy on who their top 3 backs are. Do you think he could even be, utilized on offense at this point, or is it just a mystery because we haven't seen him?
I think it's a mystery, but I mean, if you're going to put him out somewhere, put him out there on the kickoff return, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's a mystery of kind of twofold. One, you don't know how healthy he is. I mean, you're assuming that he is healthy because he's back on the active roster, but at the same token, to what level is he healthy? And then also, we didn't see him at all in training camp. I mean, you got nothing to judge him on.
Right.
So, because I think he got hurt within the first couple of days of practice, maybe even before. I don't remember.
No, you're right about that. Let's see. This one, a little bit random here as to where we're going. But Jim Bob Cooter left, obviously, last year. And it feels like the offense was at its peak, at least, Trevor Lawrence's production. He had his best season in 2022. Do you think that is an overlooked aspect of why things have not been quite as good in the last season and a half?
Yeah, I would be guessing on that. When you're talking about coaches' roles and all of that, I'm not privy to those kind of things. So I would only be guessing.
All right, fair enough. Here, if you want to get in, 641-1010, one final timeout. Coming up, we've got some more rolling in on social media that we'll pass along to you, and we'll wrap up this pre-Thanksgiving edition of Not Quite Check the Tape Tuesday. Jeff Logman is here with us. Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark, Mike Dempsey as well on Jaguars Today here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Andersen Custom Windows and Doors Studios.
Who has the best lineup this season? Honda. Cars, trucks, SUVs, vans, hybrids, and electric. This is one of the greatest lineups Honda has ever had. And now is the best time to purchase or lease one. Visit your local Honda dealer now. Remember, only a Honda is a Honda.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Grab your lucky spot on the couch, because traditions make Sunday easy to enjoy. Bud Light, easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Why do you choose Farah and Farah? First, we have the financial resources to take on any insurance company, and our track record proves that we know how to win. Our attorneys and staff are a team, and we've worked together for decades. To us, our job is much more than just a paycheck. We love to help. And this is important. We never forget. It's not about us. It's all about you. Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Cooking with Prisco.
These things are wonderful. You're going to love it. Have a rollie.
Catch CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco every Friday afternoon on The Franchi Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Huddle up at Hurricane Grill and Wings, where every day is game day. From their famous wings to refreshing new cocktails, serving up the flavors you crave. And score big with awesome happy hour deals. It's the perfect spot to catch all the football action while enjoying your food faves, cocktails, and beer. Don't miss out. Grab your friends and family and swing by Hurricane Grill and Wings and see what everyone's cheering about. Find the restaurant nearest you at hurricanewings.com.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank NA, member FDIC.
Come on, admit it. Almost everyone you know seems to be playing pickleball now, right? So whether you just want to learn how to play or you're ready to show off your elite pickleball skills, the Y is the place for you. Visit our brand new McGuire Family Pickleball Center at the Brown Family YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach. 5 top quality outdoor courts and 3 amazing indoor courts where you can learn about dinks, dill ball, falafel, the kitchen, and more pickleball slang at the Y.
Wow, John, my Clearwater sprinkler system looks great.
All right, Frank, let's go ahead and program your Rainbird timer. How many minutes do you want the zones to run?
John, I think we run from the front 20, the sides 15, the back 10, the garden 5. Clearwater scores.
Well, that's a first, Frank, but you're the boss.
Clearwater irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage to
ClearwaterJags.com. This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence returned to practice on Monday. Lawrence has sat out the last 2 games with a left shoulder injury. Jaguars analyst Bucky Brooks on the chances that we see 16 on Sunday against Houston.
I can't say that he's going to be active, but I think it's a good sign. Trevor Lawrence could have looked at the record and be like, you know what? Y'all catch me in 2025. The fact that he hasn't done that speaks volumes about his football character in terms of wanting to be out there with his guys and competing. It also suggests that maybe he is close to playing. And after seeing what the offense looked like without him, I think we all can confidently say we need number 16.
Bucky Brooks on The Frangie Show. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, final 15 minutes or so with Jeff Logman this morning on a sort of Check the Tape Tuesday. Jeff taking your questions and answering what he can on Jaguar football going forward. Why don't we get in today's 10-10 take?
10-10
take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take, brought to you by
Double-checked. Cybersecurity made simple.
I mean, to me, the most important thing for this football team for its future is the play of its quarterback, who they are committed to with that $275 million contract. So I'd like Trevor Lawrence to be healthy enough to play down the stretch and play well, that hopefully it's some kind of a springboard into the offseason. Logs, I don't know, how much of this stuff carries over when you've got so much change on personnel. Maybe the coaching staff might have a whole new offense in here, but what are things that you think can, a player, let's say Brian Thomas Jr. has 200 or 300 yard games down the stretch. Does that carry over in the form of confidence? Does he learn something about what he's capable of doing? I mean, how much of what we see in the next 6 weeks will, in your opinion, directly impact future seasons of Jaguar football?
I think everything you do impacts the future, in those remaining 6 games that you have, whether it's for Trevor Lawrence or whether it's for Brian Thomas Jr. or for a player that like a Josh Hines Allen or Trayvon Walker. It matters. I mean, a lot of people think, it's a wasted year. Let's just go ahead and quit, not even play any more games. No. I mean, look, regardless of what happens in the future, you still can build towards the future by positive play. By players in the remaining 6 games, and it's just shown that it's been that way in the past. And so when you close the year out well, you typically have a better start to the following year. Like last year, when you close the year out poorly, sometimes that carries over into the following year.
Let me ask you this, in your opinion, and I know you're not in the locker room every single day, right? So it may be difficult to know the answer to this, but give me 2 or 3 of the best leaders on this 53-man roster. Who do the players gravitate towards or follow their example, or who are occasionally vocal enough to grab people's attention?
I think on the offensive line, I think you got the 2 older guys, and Mitch Morse and Brandon Sheriff, because they've been around a long time. And I think when they speak, I think players listen. Trevor Lawrence, they're going to listen to him because he's the quarterback. Quarterbacks are leaders. On defense, I think Foye Lucan is a leader. I think Josh is a leader. I think Trayvon is more of a quiet leader. So, I mean, you've got some leadership on this team. I don't think it has a shortage of leadership. I don't think that's the issue with this football team.
Who's been the best player on the Jags this year?
Great question. For me, Brian Thomas Jr.
Okay. What about defensively?
Trayvon, probably.
I think it might be Trayvon, right?
Yeah. Trayvon. I mean, look, 7.5 sacks, I think is what he's got, and been pretty good against the run. Now, this past game, wasn't a great game, but obviously the level of competition was very high at the player he was going against, and also the offense as a whole. But yeah, I think Trayvon has been the best player so far.
I know sacks don't always tell the full story of a pass rusher season, but is what Josh Hines Allen done this season, has it been disappointing to you, considering he's coming off that 17.5 sack year?
Yes, it's been disappointing, but it's been disappointing for a lot of reasons. I think, and as the defense as a whole in totality, it's been disappointing. And I think if the defense was better as a whole, then I think Josh's numbers would be better as a whole, because Josh still has, pretty good rating as far as pressure rate.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's still getting there. But, look, when the reality is that, like I said before, is that when you're not getting a whole lot of push up the middle, it's not like he's getting a lot of help. You're getting 2 good, rushes from the edges for the most part, and then nothing really pushing up the middle. And I think that has not helped this football team, and it hasn't helped Josh's numbers. And the explosive plays allowed by the defense doesn't help a pass rusher. I mean, the amount of, and I don't know the exact number of this, but I mean, the number of 3rd and longs that this defense has had, I think has been restricted a little bit. So, as a pass rusher, you'd love to have those kind of numbers. But the reality is that, if you compare Josh's productivity to that of like Danielle Hunter or Anderson Jr. of the Houston Texans, I mean, those 2 guys I think are playing better than both Josh and Trayvon right now.
Well, Danielle Hunter's had a great 2-week run here. I think he has 5 sacks in the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
This past game, Mike, oh my God. I mean, both. And look, Tennessee's still kind of trying to figure out their offensive line. I mean, so they've got some issues there. But, I mean, you just turn on the film of Hunter, and then every week the guy, he's so smooth and so athletic. And this is going to be a tough game for the Jaguars tackles. I'm talking both of them. And they better strap it up pretty tight, because I can tell you one thing, that Anton Harrison and Walker Little are going to have their hands full.
Yeah, it's not a surprise that even as talented as Josh and Trayvon might be, that they struggle against an offensive line like Detroit can throw at you. But it's been several times already this year where we've talked to you about it, like this is a matchup that the Jags should have a clear advantage in. And against Houston, they ought to have a clear advantage on the edges when they're on defense. Do you expect it to play out that way?
Well, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Titus Howard and Tunsil are probably their two best offensive linemen with Houston Texans. Their issues are in the middle. So I think you would even consider or look at putting Josh and Trayvon in a defensive tackle some this week, because the Texans have been really struggling more with the interior three, more so than on the edges. And obviously on the edges, you can give a little bit of help on the outside as well. So I think they've got to think about doing that. We haven't seen that a ton this year where Trayvon and Josh have kicked into the inside. I think this might be the week to do it.
Other than that, I don't know if you've had a chance. Somebody asked on the text line, Design by Lifetime Enclosures, if you've been able to go back this week yet and watch the first Jags-Texans game. But if not, from your recollection, other than maybe doing that, shifting around to take advantage on the defensive line, some of those offensive line weaknesses of the Texans, what are some other things the Jags can do to come out with a better result than they got last time?
Well, if you remember back to the last game, in the second half, there were defensive opportunities to stop a Texans drive, which didn't happen. And then you also had the opportunity to put the game away as an offense by a 4-minute drill. And you weren't able to accomplish either one. And as a team, you just got to finish better. And that's obviously been an issue for this Jaguars team all year, has been finishing games. And this time, you hope that you can do that. And you hope that you can keep the Houston Texans a little bit off kilter, because right now they're not playing great football. And Tennessee, if you look, like, again, going back to that game, if you watch the way that Tennessee's offense was functional, I will say this, Will Levis, he deserves a medal. I think he got sacked like 8 times in that game. And then still at the end of the ball game to stand in the pocket and throw the balls that he did was impressive, because there's a lot of quarterbacks after getting sacked 8 times would not have had a calm presence in the pocket and the ability to stand tall and make a throw late in the ball game, but he did. And that impressed the hell out of me, I can tell you that.
Lux, when you look at C.J. Stroud, last year he had the lowest interception percentage of any starting quarterback in the league. He only threw interceptions on like 1% of his passes, right? Had 5 in 499 attempts, right? Pretty easy math right there. This year, it's more than doubled, up to 2.3%. He's already thrown 9 picks compared to 5 all of last year against only 14 touchdowns. What do you saw the game against Tennessee? I don't know how much you've seen of C.J. Stroud other than when he played the Jags earlier this year, but what specifically has he not been doing as well, in your opinion, that he did better as a rookie?
He just hasn't been as accurate. And I think his offensive line has had some issues too, which has impacted his accuracy. I think he's definitely got a better running back and a better running game to support him. But the protection has been a major issue. A major issue. And CJ last year had this uncanny ability to throw under duress and to make throws, and you're just like, my God, how did he make that throw? And this year he just hasn't been able to do that as often. And I think a lot of it is just his performance hasn't been as good. I think also not having his 3 top wide receivers. Obviously, you're missing one of them, and Nico Collins was out for a little bit. I think Tank Dell was a little bit slow to kind of get started. But, I mean, he definitely has the arm talent, but he just hasn't been as accurate this year as he was last year for whatever reason.
We don't know if we'll have Tank Bigsby back this week, but let's say he is, and he's available for the final 6 weeks of the season. How would you like to see the Jaguar running backs deployed in terms of usage compared to each other?
Blame both. I mean, look, Doug was asked the question a while back when Tank was rolling and going all the way back to the first Houston game, who's your starting running back, and Travis got hurt. But the reality is that they're both starting running backs because you need them both. and they both do different things well. Tank is a better runner, and Etienne is a better receiver out of the backfield, and he's better in protection. So you split them up like that. Tank's your workhorse, and if all of a sudden you're pounding the Houston Texans, then all of a sudden you keep pounding it with Tank. And then when you get the third down, well, that's time for Etienne to be on the field, or a second and long, and you're going to go to a passing personnel, then Etienne needs to be on the field. But the reality is, again, both of those guys I consider starters in my book.
Logs, in terms of the wide receivers here with Gabe Davis out, you talked about it earlier. You're going to see Parker Washington, Brian Thomas, probably some more Brenton Strange on the field. You got the backs. Obviously, Evan Ingram's going to be out there. But is there a young wide receiver that you'd like to get a longer look at, be it, Austin Trammell, Elijah Cooks, one of these guys, if the opportunity presents itself? Who, if anyone, intrigues you the most, like as a practice squad call-up? Or do they?
I mean, look, I love the size of Cooks, obviously, just because he's a big dude, but the consistency just hasn't been there. He had a fantastic preseason last year, but then didn't really do much this year in the preseason. And consistency, I think, has kind of been an issue with him. But, I mean, if he can get rolling, I'd like to see him. But I don't know. That's a great question. That's a great question.
Does Joshua
Trammell was brought up the last time, right?
He was,
I mean,
yeah.
Ahead of Elijah Cooks. And so, I mean, if I had to guess, I mean, if you're trying to replace the body type of Gabe Davis, you go Elijah Cooks. And if you're looking at just getting another kind of a smaller, shiftier guy, then you put Trammell out there.
Does Joshua Cephas intrigue you at all?
Yeah, I mean, he did some good things in the preseason. But yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they do there. But the reality is, Mike, going back to what we were talking about, the two tight end grouping, with Brenton Strange and Evan Ingram and Luke Farrell. For me, I would lean more towards those personnel groupings of using Brenton Strange and keeping him on the field almost every snap.
What do you expect the impact to be from the two rookie defensive tackles, Mason Smith and Jordan Jefferson, the remainder of the year?
My expectations are not very high. I like Jordan Jefferson as a nose tackle, run stuffing kind of guy. I think he does an okay job. And Mason Smith, I mean, I really don't have any expectations. I mean, it's just, I think he's got a skill set. And look, you knew that he was raw, and it was one of those P words, potential. But the production, the other P word, really wasn't there at LSU. And then he had the ankle injury, which I think hampered his ability to get active. And I don't know where it's at now, because they said a couple weeks ago that, the ankle is not an issue, and that now it's up to, it's a numbers game, is what Doug used the terminology for when it came to Mason Smith, which tells you that they don't feel like he can give you a better contribution than the other guys that were active, which essentially was, Ledbetter and Tyler Lacey and Jordan Jefferson and Devon Hamilton.
What is it with Smith? Like, do you still think he has a bright future? Is it, is it work ethic? Is it practice habits? Is it, I don't know what, like, what's the missing piece? He seems like, he's a physical specimen, but it obviously hasn't all come together.
Well, he's got the length. I mean, he's a 6'5" guy, long arms, over 300 pounds, and not exactly sure where over 300 pounds. He showed the ability in training camp and one-on-one to be effective. But, the reality is that once he's gotten into games with the opportunities that he's had, you've got to be able to play the run and the pass. And sometimes you've got to be able to know when to pass rush, when you're kind of putting that into pass rush gear versus, okay, now I need to just play in my gap kind of gear. And that's kind of slowed him down a little bit, I guess, is kind of the ability to translate or to figure out what it is, and it slowed him down, and hasn't done a very good job of reading some of that stuff. But if you just cut him loose on a third and long situation, I'd say, okay, he's got some abilities. And I think you're almost at the point now where, because you haven't really gotten any interior pressure, put him put him up on game day. And even if he's only playing 2nd and 9 and 3rd and long, and you're saying, look, get in a track stance and just go rush the passer. Don't worry about gap. That if you put him in that position, maybe he can help you. And by the way, and bring the other guy, okay, Armstead with him and put him inside too.
All right, Logs, we'll wrap it up here. Other than sitting around the Thanksgiving table, where can folks catch you for the rest of the week?
We have Jaguars All Access tomorrow night at Strings, 7 o'clock. And then the outdoor show Saturday, and then game day on Sunday. So looking forward to that. And most importantly, happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
Likewise.
And I hope you guys have a fantastic sweet potato pie or an apple pie to eat after all the turkey.
I'm
a pecan pie guy, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, coconut cream, but if I must go the pie route. But, hey, to each your own, man. God bless America. Logs, happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you on Sunday, all right?
Okay, boys. Y'all have a great one.
All right, buddy. There he goes, Jeff Logman on a modified Check the Tape Tuesday.
Pumpkin might be your worst take in the history of the show, Dylan. Pumpkin pie being at the top of the list.
Pumpkin pie is disgusting.
Yeah.
Man, y'all
so
crazy.
Other than
just say you love whipped cream and
I like that too.
skip the
I only
pie.
like a little bit of whipped cream on a pumpkin
cherry
pie.
pie's all
Just
right.
A little bit.
Lemon pie's good. Coconut cream pie. Chocolate cream pie.
Yeah.
You see where my taste.
I see.
Nothing
You
particularly
want that
healthy.
candy dessert, and that's all good. Yeah.
Nothing particularly healthy on that front. All right. That'll do it for us today. Tomorrow, we got a lot to cram in to our final show of the week. I don't know if we'll go through our confidence picks, but we've got to make our confidence picks with Tom McManus. We got to do the Breakfast Bowl with D-Rock. Daniel Griffiths is going to join us tomorrow. So is John Ozier. And we'll try to head into the Thanksgiving holiday with some positive vibes for your Jacksonville Jaguars. It has been difficult to do this year, but that's where we're at. For Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, and of course for Jeff Logman, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thank you for listening to Jaguars Today, and keep it right here on 1010XL. And